On July 22, 2026, a 69-year-old woman named Jerri Roby stood in a Mississippi courtroom, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison. Her victim was her own 42-year-old son, John Allen Gaither. Investigators found his body inside a large wooden box, hidden behind a false wall that had been constructed inside their shared home in Gulfport, Mississippi. He had been shot in the back of the head. And here is the detail that changed everything about this case. This was not the first time Jerri Roby had taken a life in this exact manner. In 1993, going by a completely different name, she shot another person in the back of the head in Boca Raton, Florida. She served time for manslaughter. She was released, and decades later, the pattern repeated itself inside her own home. So how did investigators unravel a case that the killer spent weeks trying to cover up with forged letters, fake phone calls, and carefully purchased supplies? If you're new here, this channel covers in-depth true crime cases just like this one. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new documentary. John Allen Gaither was 42 years old and living with his mother at her home on 6th Street in Gulfport, Mississippi. He had family spread across several states. His brother lived nearby, and they spoke regularly. His father and stepmother lived out in California. Gaither was not someone who dropped off the radar without warning. He maintained regular contact with his relatives, so when he suddenly went silent, people noticed quickly. His mother, Jerri Roby, had a past that many in the family already knew about. In 1993, while living in Boca Raton, Florida, under the name Jerri Lynn Israel, she shot a woman named Christina P. Racy in the back of the head. After the incident, she kept the victim's body in her car for several days and tried to dispose of it at multiple locations around Florida. She was convicted of manslaughter in 1995, served her sentence, and after her release relocated to Gulfport, Mississippi, where she eventually settled with Gaither. Over the years, she also used multiple aliases. By December 2023, Roby was 66 years old. She lived with Gaither at the 6th Street residence and had an 86-year-old boyfriend named Robert Wayne Tannehill. The last time anyone confirmed contact with John Gaither was around December 10th, 2023. When his brother hadn't heard from him in about a week, he called the Gulfport Police Department. On December 22nd, 2023, at roughly 5:45 in the evening, officers arrived at Roby's home to conduct a welfare check. They opened a missing persons report. Roby told the officers that Gaither had left in an Uber and traveled to Louisiana to purchase a vehicle. Around the same time, Gaither's stepmother out in California contacted police separately. She had received a letter that appeared to be from Gaither, claiming he had gone to the Philippines to meet a woman. When detectives checked Gaither's Uber account, there was no activity during the time frame Roby described. None at all. Over the following days, police returned to the home multiple times. By December 27th, detectives noticed serious inconsistencies in Roby's story. She became increasingly uncooperative and changed her statements more than once. As investigators looked into her background, they uncovered the 1995 manslaughter conviction in Florida and the history of aliases. That discovery shifted everything. Knowing what she had done before, Gulfport Police Detective Justin Clifton pushed the investigation forward. Detectives received permission to search Roby's property, and during that search, they recovered a receipt from the Gulfport Home Depot. The receipt was dated approximately 1 week before the missing persons report was filed. It listed 15 bags of sand, 2 rolls of patch and seal tape, straw, and a dumpster bag. Investigators later confirmed that Roby had made a second earlier trip to the same Home Depot, where she purchased additional plastic sheeting, soil, and tape. Surveillance cameras at the store captured both visits. On one of those trips, she was accompanied by her boyfriend, Robert Wayne Tannehill. In early January 2024, more family members came forward. Gaither's stepmother and his brother each contacted law enforcement again. Both had received a phone call, text messages, and another letter, all supposedly from Gaither. Neither of them believed any of it was genuine. Think about what investigators were looking at by this point. A man who vanished without a trace. A mother who had been convicted before for the same type of crime. Store receipts for materials that could be used to conceal remains. And family members receiving communications they believed were forged. What would you have concluded? On January 18th, 2024, the Gulfport Police Department obtained and executed a search warrant at Roby's residence. What they found confirmed their suspicions. In the front portion of the home, investigators discovered a false wall that had been built to seal off a room. Behind it was a boarded-up door and a window that had been sealed shut. Inside that concealed space sat a large wooden box, big enough to hold a person. Inside the box were the remains of John Allen Gaither. His body was covered in sand, mulch, plastic sheeting, and some of his own clothing. The materials matched the items from the Home Depot receipts. The box was so large that police had to cut through part of the wall just to remove it from the house. Harrison County Coroner Brian Switzer identified the body. A full autopsy determined the cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the back of the head. If you're still watching, you already know this case is worth following. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next deep dive. As officers moved to take Roby into custody during the search, she swallowed a large quantity of prescription pills and had to be transported to a local hospital. After she was released from medical care, investigators interviewed her. What she told them revealed just how far the cover-up had gone. According to Assistant District Attorney Matthew D. Burrell, who prosecuted the case, Roby admitted that she had forged the letters sent to family members, sent text messages to relatives while pretending to be Gaither, talked her boyfriend Tannehill into calling family members and pretending to be Gaither over the phone, and physically transported Gaither's cell phone to Florida so that any calls would ping off cell towers there, making it look like he had left Mississippi. Investigators also discovered that Roby had been making withdrawals from Gaither's bank account. Despite admitting to all of that, Roby initially told police that Gaither had done this to himself. She claimed he fell into the box and she simply covered him with the materials she had bought. That version of events was contradicted by the autopsy and the mountain of concealment evidence. Later, during her plea hearing, Roby changed her story again. She told the court she shot Gaither in what she called a spur-of-the-moment decision, claiming she wanted to put him out of his misery because he suffered from depression. Judge Randy P. Mueller did not accept that explanation. The judge pointed out that Roby had made preparations by purchasing materials at Home Depot and then lied to police repeatedly afterward. Roby was arrested on January 20th, 2024, and charged with first-degree murder. She was booked into the Harrison County Adult Detention Center and held without bond. Her first court appearance took place on January 22nd, 2024. A preliminary hearing was held in February 2024 before Justice Court Judge Albert Fountain, where Detective Clifton laid out the evidence. In May 2025, a Harrison County grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against Roby. The charges were first-degree murder and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Her boyfriend, 86-year-old Robert Wayne Tannehill, was arrested separately and charged with hindering prosecution for his involvement in the Home Depot trips and the purchase of concealment materials. Authorities indicated that additional charges against Tannehill could be forthcoming. On July 22, 2026, Roby appeared before Circuit Court Judge Randy P. Mueller. She pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections. District Attorney Crosby Parker stated that despite extraordinary efforts by the defendant to distance herself from what happened and mislead investigators, they remained committed and ultimately brought her to justice. One question that the investigation and the court never fully answered is the exact timeline of events. The last confirmed contact with Gaither was around December 10th. The Home Depot receipt was dated roughly a week before the missing persons report on December 22nd. That raises the question of whether the concealment materials were purchased before or after Gaither was killed, and whether that wooden box was already in place before he died. The judge pointed to those purchases as evidence of premeditation. Roby maintained it was impulsive. That contradiction has never been resolved. As of July 2026, Jerri Roby is serving a life sentence for the first-degree murder of her son. The status of charges against Robert Wayne Tannehill has not been publicly updated. This is a case where the investigation itself told the story. A missing man, a mother with a prior conviction for doing the same thing, forged letters, fake phone calls, and a trail of receipts that led investigators straight to a false wall and a wooden box. If you found this case worth your time, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the evidence pointed to premeditation? Or do you believe there is more to this story that hasn't come out yet? Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We cover cases like this every week, going deeper than the headlines so you get the full picture. We'll see you in the next one. Jerri Roby took 2 lives 30 years apart, the same way each time. The system gave her a second chance after the first. Her own son paid for the second.